The RRSP, TFSA, and FHSA are amazing accounts to pay less taxes and exponentially grow your wealth. But how do you actually figure out where to put your money? Well, how you allocate your money between these accounts will be different based on your specific financial situation and goals. And so because I don't know your specific financial situation, instead, I'm going to show you a real-life financial audit that I did with one of my clients, where I helped her figure out how to allocate her savings between her RRSP, TFSA, and FHSA for her specific financial situation in just 3 simple steps. Let's get into it. Okay, so my client is a 28-year-old nurse living and working in Toronto, Canada, making about $85,000 per year. And we started working back in January 2024. She has a net worth of $55,000 with some savings in her emergency fund and some investments in her TFSA and RRSP. A few years ago, she paid off all of her student loans, and so she is completely debt-free. Her after-tax income is about $4,600 per month, with total expenses of $2,800 per month, with her biggest expense coming from rent that she splits with her partner. On a typical month, her average savings is $1,700, which is about 38% of her after-tax income. And so as you can see, my client was pretty good with her money. She paid off all of her student loans, kept her expenses relatively low, and saved some money. But the biggest problem that she faced was, where do I put my money? She opened up a TFSA and an RRSP with a financial advisor at her bank, but she still didn't understand why she was doing these things. She also realized her investments weren't performing as great as she wanted to, and she also knew that working with a financial advisor is actually really expensive, especially in the long run. And so my client really wanted to learn how to invest her own money the right way using the RRSP, TFSA, and the FHSA for her specific financial situation. And so let me walk you the 3 steps that I took my client to help her figure out how to actually allocate her savings between these accounts. But wait, this wasn't applicable to my client because she didn't have any debt, but if you have any debt that's over 5 or 6%, you actually want to prioritize paying off your debt first rather than investing your money. And that's because if you're investing your money, you're probably not going to be able to get above 6% rate of return on a consistent basis, especially in the short term. And so that's the reason why you want to prioritize any high interest debt before you start investing your money. The first step is to set your financial goals. Okay, so my client wants to get married in about 3 years before she starts a family. My client also wants to be able to buy her own home with her partner. She set a goal of $100,000 to be able to buy a place in the general Toronto area with her partner. She also wants to buy a house with a basement so that she can turn it into a basement suite, rent it out, and generate another source of income. Lastly, after doing some retirement calculations, she would need to save an extra $1.2 million if she wants to retire comfortably by the age of 60. Now, after making some assumptions over the return we can expect per year from investing, she would need to save a total of $2,300 per month or $28,000 per year. So my client had monthly savings of $1,700. But based on her financial goals, her monthly required savings is $2,300, which means that she's about $600 off. Now, we tried to cut down some savings, but she already lived a very minimalistic lifestyle, so there wasn't really any way to cut down on her expenses. And so although she wouldn't be able to achieve all of her financial goals at the same time, we decided that the best option for her was to prioritize her short-term goals first. That way she could get married and start having a family, and also she can buy her first house so that she can stop paying rent, build more equity, and then also create another source of income by renting out the basement. Then once she achieved her short-term goals, she can then allocate more money into retirement later. And this is the first step to figure out where to put your money. And so if you're following along, I want to ask you, what are your financial goals? And when and how much do you need in order to achieve each of these goals? Let me know what you come up with in the comments below. Step 2. Identify the pros and cons of each of your options. Just like if you were to make any educated decision, you have to figure out what your options are and the pros and cons of each of these options. And it's the same thing when you're trying to figure out how to allocate your money between your RRSP, TFSA, and FHSA. I mean, if you don't even know how these accounts work, how are you supposed to figure out where to put your money? And so my client knew about the TFSA and the RRSP, but she just didn't fully understand all of the details and how to actually use these accounts for her specific financial situation and goals. And so to bridge the knowledge gap, I gave her access to my online course, the Money Skills Bootcamp, which has over 6 hours of content teaching her how to make, save, and invest her own money, including how taxes actually work in Canada and the pros and cons of the RRSP, TFSA, and FHSA. And by doing this, she was actually able to understand why she was investing in these accounts rather than just being told what to do. Now, if you want access to the Money Skills Bootcamp, I actually give out the free module out for free. So if you want it, just go to michaeliekim.com/start. The third and last step is just to allocate your money between the 3 accounts based on your financial goals and the rules of these accounts. So first, we identified her contribution limit to each of these accounts in 2024. For the RSP, she had $57,000 of unused contribution room, and you can find out your total limit on the CRA website. For the TFSA, she had $41,000 of unused contribution room. This amount is based on your age, as well as any amount that you've already contributed. And then for the FHSA, because she didn't contribute to it yet, she had $8,000 of unused contribution room. And so the first goal that we really wanted to prioritize was to buy her first home so that she could stop paying rent, build more equity, and then create another source of income. And so that's the reason why we decided to first max out her FHSA, which adds up to about $660 per month, leaving about $1,100 of savings. The second goal that she really wanted to prioritize was her wedding so that she could get married and then start having a family. And so we decided to put $300 per month into her TFSA. And the remaining $840 of savings went into her RRSP to save up for retirement and for her house. And based on the new first-time home buyers rule, you can actually withdraw up to $60,000 out of your RRSP for a down payment of your first home without triggering any taxes. And so by saving money in her RRSP, she's actually able to have a lot more flexibility as to whether she can use this money for retirement or to buy a house. And this is how we allocated her savings between her RRSP, TFSA, and FHSA. And over the past year, she pretty much stuck exactly to this plan. And now she has over $70,000 in her investment accounts, and she's well on track to achieve all of her financial goals. Now, if you want my eyes on your specific financial situation to help you achieve your financial goals, then apply to get a free 1-hour financial audit. There are limited spots, so to apply, just go to michaeliekim.com/audit. The thing is, most people don't know where to put their money simply because they're following the wrong steps. But as I just showed you, allocating your money between your RSP, TFSA, and FHSA is actually really simple if you have the right approach. And so remember, the 3 steps to figure out where to put your money is number 1, set your financial goals and figure out how much and when you need each of these financial goals. Number 2, for the RSP, TFSA, and FHSA, learn about the pros and cons of each of these accounts so that you can make an educated financial decision as to what to do. And lastly, simply allocate your savings based on your financial goals. Now, if you're still a little bit confused about the differences between the RSP, TFSA, and FHSA, and want to learn about some of the changes in 2025, then watch this video right over here.